Is it okay to cross somebody's hard limits? Or soft limits? For instance, as a punishment. Is it okay if somebody crosses my limits? It's a fantastic question, and the answer is not as clear as you might think. So stay tuned. My name is Sam. I'm a trained submissive. For the past 3 years, I was trained as a submissive and as a sex slave. I'm just very passionate about sharing my knowledge, about what I learned. I think it's beautiful what I gained from this relationship. It's the most fulfilling, deep relationship that I ever had. And I want you to have it too. So what is it, crossing a limit? What does it mean if you cross a limit as a dom? Limits are called limits because it means they're off limit. It's a border, it's a boundary, it's something that you shouldn't cross. So what happens if you cross it? There are 2 ways that you can cross it. First of all, you can cross it by accident. This usually happens if you didn't take the time to discuss your limits up front and you didn't discuss them in detail. If you give a limit, I don't want to have sex, does it mean that you don't want to be penetrated? Does it mean that you don't do anything oral, for instance? Does it mean that you don't even touch genitals? There's a whole spectrum. So if you don't make it clear up front what it means that you have a limit, then it might be possible that you cross the limit as a dominant by accident, and it happens. Don't worry about it. It's also possible that you're crossing something that was up front was not a limit, and suddenly you find out that it is a limit. As a submissive, what you do is you immediately use your safe word. This is your responsibility. You had a limit, you have a limit, or maybe you have a limit that you didn't know up front. It doesn't matter if you discussed it or not. The first thing that you do is you say your safe word. You just scream red or stop or eggplant or whatever kind of safe word you have, but you stop the scene. Because BDSM is all about trust. It's about honesty, and you really don't want somebody to break that trust. And it's not the trust that you have in that dominant, but he needs to be able to trust you too, that you are going to use your safe word. This is your responsibility. It is also possible that the dominant crosses your limits on purpose. It's never okay if he crosses a hard limit on purpose. This is damaging trust. It's damaging your relationship. This is not taking responsibility as a dom, and I would never ever play with him again. If it's on purpose. If you are a dom, it's not okay to cross a limit, also on purpose, as a punishment. It's totally okay if you punish your sub, but you cannot punish them by crossing their limits. They give their trust to you. They give you the power to help them grow, to flourish, to be a better person. And they make mistakes, and sometimes maybe they do deserve a punishment. Absolutely true. But you will never ever cross their hard limits. Hard limits are hard limits. You don't touch them. Is that clear? Please like this video if you think this is valuable. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I'm answering questions 3 times a week on everything that you want to know about BDSM but never dare to ask. As a dom, if you cross a limit and you find it out, then just stop the scene. Check in with them. Check if they're okay. Because you just broke their trust. And it's a serious thing, and you should take it seriously. And don't underestimate the fact that you can also damage them mentally. If you want to punish your submissive, you can use their soft limits for it. Because I really don't like cold cum. My master had me once as a punishment. He told me to bring one of my panties, and he jerked off in it. And with this cum in it, he gave it back to me. I had to go to the toilet and I had to eat it off. Serious punishment. I still don't like it. We never discussed it as a soft limit, but he knew that it was not a turn on for me. So in my case, I would probably, if it would have been on the list, I would probably have put it on the list. If you want to play with soft limits, but make sure that it's clear that it's a punishment, there is a risk. If you play with soft limits and you put it into the punishment category, it means that you are connecting it to something negative. It might be hard to ever get it out of that. I personally wouldn't play with soft limits as a punishment. I would rather play with soft limits in a different context. But for a punishment, there are so many other ways that you can punish someone. I hope this video was valuable for you. Play with passion.